Welcome back to the Make It Happen series. If you listen to us a lot, you will know that Make It Happen series is all about women that make it happen in business or in life. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Aleksandra Marjańska, who works with women who are high achievers. Now, you may wonder what a high achiever is. Do you actually know if you're a high achiever? How do you become a high achiever? Is it nature or nurture? We're going to delve into the whole topic of high achievers. Hi, Aleksandra.
Hello, Ali.
Good to see you. So please introduce yourself for the listeners.
So first of all, hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. So happy. My name is Aleksandra Marjańska. I'm originally Polish, have lived in Norway by choice for a great many years now, and I'm a professional coach to exponential entrepreneurs. And it might be that we will be talking about it later, who it is and what makes them and what breaks them. I'm also a sustainable high performance mentor with like accent on sustainable. And a founder of Goal Achievers Institute. So I also do academic research. I must say I am an academic geek, especially fond of qualitative research, and I do qualitative research on high achievers' secret struggles and how to overcome them.
Brilliant.
So that's me in a nutshell.
Good. I'm delighted to have you here because we're going to start off by actually talking about goal achievers. So what are they? How do you know if you're one? How do you, is it nature or nurture that you start? You know, where does it, tell us more.
Oh yeah, nature or nurture, that's a bigger question. And my research at this stage points out to some answers. But I will this expression is composed by two words, goal and achiever, right? Goal achievers. So let's start with achievers first. So I believe that achiever is a personality type, which would also mean that a lot of it is innate. You were born with it. And what is this it that defines it? For me, it's this enormous inner drive, this constant hunger for more, this desire to grow, this desire to learn, this desire to experience more and more, and to really what I call not even, this phrase of living up to your full potential, but it's really about constantly exploring and expanding your potential throughout the entire life journey. So this is this kind of person that will never settle, no matter how good things are. Settling for anything, even the greatest thing, is very close to stagnation for an achiever. And stagnation is something an achiever type cannot stand. So obviously I am one as well, so I know how it feels. So we will continuously be going. So guys, if you are an achiever, there will be, it's just to face it, there will be no point in our lives where we will see and think whew, now I have achieved everything I wanted. Now it's time to just sit back, relax, enjoy the view, panorama view of my life, and be happy about it and just sip a drink, with an umbrella on it. We will always, no matter how high top we achieve, from this top, the view is even wider, even broader. So from this top, we will see another possibility. We will get another idea, and we will be tempted to create even more, maybe go in even different direction than before. And again, explore and create more and more. And this is this healthy version. This is this version that achieves new things because it makes us feel alive. This is what, this is what gives us thrill and joy of life. And then goal part is all about, and I must say it's a strong word, but I think it's an accurate word as well. Goals and being goal achiever is about being kind of obsessed with setting goals and achieving them. So these tangible results. So it means that we are very future-paced and very result-oriented. We don't only want to go and explore and achieve and learn and experience. but we do it with the purpose of achieving a specific goal. And I don't know about you, Ali, or probably I know because I know you a bit right now, but I cannot imagine life, or actually maybe now I can, but for a very long time I couldn't imagine life without goals.
Yeah, no,
and I thought
yeah.
I would be, you know, completely lost. So
yeah, brilliant. And I'm guessing then you decided to build your coaching practice supporting high goal achievers because you are a goal achiever yourself. Is that right?
Yeah, and I would even say, you know, it sounds like a very general term, and it might be confusing even in my brand sometimes, because goal achievers, like in our culture, who wouldn't want to be a goal achiever? But we need to understand that as much as, you know, great many of us would like to achieve goals, and we are taught all over the place that we need to set goals and we need to achieve goals, and, you know, if you don't have your own goals, then someone else will use you kind of to achieve their own goals if you don't have your own agenda for life and so on. But this is like this general message, and I do agree that many people need to hear this message over and over again. But then if you already are a natural achiever type, obsessed with goals from before, in my case, it was from as far as I can remember, as far as I can go back in my memory to my early childhood, always setting goals, challenging goals, demanding goals, and doing everything I could to achieve them. Natural achiever type, fixated around this goal setting and goal achievement, really needs a different kind of advice. And this is kind of how my business and my coaching practice has evolved. And I have done several experiments with myself as well. And even I remember one year when I said, this will be the year when I do not set any goals. And how do I navigate through this year without them? What else can I use? Like, because I felt, you know, a little bit like losing the ground under my feet without these goals. It turned out to be one of the, you know, biggest turning points of my journey. Because now my coaching practice and my mentoring and my research is all about making sure that these natural achievers, so focused on goals in their lives, really enjoy the journey. Because I have been experiencing on my own skin and observing more and more in my surroundings, and obviously I surround myself with super high achievers, that the price we are paying for these achievements, this pursuit of the goals, is very often so high, and it's almost like, not almost, even literally, we are sacrificing our entire life and our life experience and the quality of our life experience here and now for these future big, visionary, audacious, challenging goals. And we might exhaust ourselves in the journey and feel miserable and really not fulfilled in all the other areas that also count for us, in addition to this one shiny big goal that we are focused on, that we might come to the point where we ask, is it really worth it?
Yeah. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people listening to this who are the same as me, because I didn't really recognize, or I did recognize myself as a high achiever, but it was only when you and I spoke about high achievers that I actually realized, wow, that's me. Which is quite a strange place to be, really. So how did you first recognize that you were a high achiever?
I honestly don't know if I ever have, in a way, because I still struggle with this expression high achiever, because who decides what is high, what is low, what is medium, and also we have this term overachiever. Like, I don't believe that any high achiever would call themselves an overachiever, because our tendency is to always look up to the next goal, to the next level, to an even greater height that we want to reach, and not really look down and realize how high we are already flying. And also this high is really, it's when we say high achiever, we really think about the cultural norms and what seems to be the average in our society. So if you achieve less than the average, you're kind of labeled as what? Underachiever. And if you achieve more than the average, you're labeled as high achiever. So for me, this high and low and over and under is not really that important, but I've pretty much always recognized that I am an achiever. And when I did this exercise, I don't know why I did it, honestly. Probably it was just a part of my very self-reflective pattern, that I wanted to name my core identities. Who am I really? And in coaching, it's really so important to start with who are you, and who are you in this bigger context in the world? What kind of impact are you making being who you are? So I wanted to name these core identities of mine because they're really playing out in every big and small thing that you do. And the achiever was the very first one that came to my mind. And then I realized that, thanks God, I have some others, and I will probably go into why, thanks God. But yes, achiever is a very strong one. And what surrounds it is an adventurer, an academic, as I shared with you, definitely. So this researcher, this explorer. And the recent one that I've always had, but I've named it. And this is the power of naming these identities. It's not to limit ourselves into this is who we are and nothing else or nothing different, but it's more because while we, for me at least, while we name it, we can access this resource more deliberately and on demand. So the last one that I've figured out for myself was the alchemist. And this came to me last year. And really the alchemist is this brilliant one, the counterpart to the achiever, and the one that helps me stay healthy and happy on the way to my achievements. But yes, I've realized very, very early on that I was one.
Okay.
But I never realized that my achievements were so high.
I don't think we do. And that's why I think there's going to be a lot of aha moments for people listening to this, because I think they'll suddenly start identifying with a lot of things you're saying and realize actually she's talking about me, and I hadn't actually maybe put a label on it or really thought that's who I am. But, you know, as you say, once you do put a label on it, you can then work with it and find the way that you can best deal with it. I mean, my next question.
I just want, you know, people, I have comments, like people come to me because sometimes I just see someone and I know it's my ideal client and I know I can really add a ton of value to their process. I invite them and they go, oh yes, but you know, I'm not sure if I'm high enough achieving to be your client. This is not about that. It's about your drive. It's about the way you're wired. It's about what drives you, what motivates you in life. And these things that we culturally call high achievements, for me, it's really just a natural consequence, a natural expression of who you are.
Yeah, who you really are. Yeah. My next question is really going to be, what are your business roadblocks and how did you overcome them? And is finding that you are a high achiever, was it one of your roadblocks, and then discovering that's who you were, that's, you know, that's why you're working with it now?
My business roadblocks was really around being a businesswoman. That was the first one.
Okay.
Because I didn't grow up in an environment of entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, anything like it. So really not supportive money mindset that I was growing out in, and really nothing in my closest surroundings that would make it, you know, a thing in my world as I perceived it. The closest I could get was one uncle that had a pretty successful big business, and you know, my parents' comments in post-communistic Poland that, you know, there was this belief going on that if you are the one making money, you might be kind of big and bad. You might have cheated yourself to it, your way to it, kind of. So so the first block was probably just even realizing that I can become an entrepreneur, that I can become a business owner, that I can create something on my own. And this realization came actually through my man, who comes from a very entrepreneurial family, who has had his businesses all the way since his very early 20s. And he was seeing my potential, and he was seeing how I was operating as an employee, and said, like, you are outgrowing these frames that you are put into as who you are. Like, why wouldn't you just start something that is yours? And I was like, really? And I was probably in my late 20s, and it still took a while. And then the next block, once I was eager and I embraced this, potential of being a businesswoman, then it was, oh shoot, I'm multi-passionate. How on earth can I put all these passions and all these skills into one business that would make sense both to me and to others? Because I had this qualitative research, and I also wanted to write reportage and make documentaries or like educational film productions. So I was definitely seeing myself, on Discovery Channel, being this guide guiding you through different cultures and different like heritage of humankind. And I was also very much into communication. I was always fascinated with communication between people and cultures, obviously, and coaching. And I was like, how am I going to make sense out of it and combine it into one business? Because I also realized that if I try to pursue very different businesses or careers, that will definitely leave me exhausted and without any significant results, because my efforts and my focus would be so scattered. So it took me a while again to figure out what it would be, because I also refused to choose. And I think that it was worth the time put into it, because once I finally figured it out, I really get to do all of these things and really enjoy them and be myself, and let all these personalities that I've been mentioning play out in a one and only business, which is an institute. So I can work as a coach, I can teach, I love teaching, so I can be this mentor, but I can also do research that is very much connected to what my clients are going through and need, and be this creative thought leader that develops a groundbreaking method of dealing with these high achievers' secret struggles. And also I get to write, I get to be in the media, and I have some plans. I must say that I have also started my own documentary series, which is very much about, testing ourselves and really exploring what else is there for us, available and possible and achievable.
The high achievers do tend to have multiple projects on the go at the same time, don't they? And really enjoy having multiple projects. Is that healthy, or do you think it's better to try and be more focused on one big thing that you really enjoy doing?
I wonder if there is one answer to this question, because I always look at the individual's needs, wants, and capacity. So, one person can thrive in having multiple projects and really loving having these multiple balls in the air, and they would feel bored maybe if they unlimited, if they only had to focus on one project at a time, while others might prefer to be very single focused and rather, do it to completion. But there is definitely, for everyone, there is a limit of how many balls we can have in the air. So I won't say yes, only one at a time, or yes, 3 to 5 is the optimal, or 10, but you need to figure out for yourself really where this limit goes, but there is a limit. And it's a trap again, you know, we tend to say all these inspirational quotes like sky is the limit, if not now then never, if you really want to make it happen, the time is now, and do not procrastinate and whatever. And this is actually, watch out for it. High achievers are very exposed to it because it's touching their weak point. It's playing on our emotion of, you know, being really dedicated to our dreams, really taking our dreams seriously and wanting to make them a reality. So how often have you heard a sales pitch, for instance, from a stage where someone is first giving you great information, great inspiration, and then they pitch their program and they say, and if you don't act on it and buy from me now, it means you are not committed to your dream, and it means you will never get there if you're not committed.
Yeah.
And we achievers who tend to, you know, take our dreams so seriously, we don't want to be not achievers. We don't want to be not committed. So we go for it. And then we say yes to too many things at the very same time. And we end up overwhelmed, overloaded, overcommitted, and very, very frustrated and exhausted, because always when we say yes to one thing, we say no to everything else we could have been doing in the very same time. Yeah. So there is a limit. There is a limit, and find it and stick to it. Karl Lagerfeld, the famous fashion designer, rest in peace, crazy, crazy man, controversial, but I love these kinds of people. I don't need to agree with them, but I think they are spicing up our world, and at least they are coming at us out of the box and make us think differently and have a different perspective. And it's a really simple thing, but at the same time really profound, that I shared with Ali, really changed a part of my life. It was about books, but it will be related to courses you're taking, projects you are, you know, taking on at any time. Because he said it about books: before you buy a new book, make sure you have bought yourself time to read it.
Yeah, which I think is a fantastic, simple way of living your life, because it's true. You know, I've got a stack like that beside the bed, and it's depressing to see them all there, knowing they're full of goodness. I haven't got time to read it. So,
especially depressing for an achiever type.
Yeah.
Because the moment you have bought this book, you have kind of started a new achievement process. Reading a book is like a little bit of an achievement process, right? Yeah. On a tiny scale. And then you have it lying there, and oh, I haven't yet achieved this particular thing. What does it say about me as an achiever?
I've got friends that sign up to that. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a website where you can read a book in like 15 minutes. It just gives you the highlights of what it says in 15 minutes. I think that doesn't work. I really want to read the whole book, and understand what the person's saying, because most books do have one message running through them, don't they? And you can pick that up by just reading something or listening to something in 15 minutes. But it's more about the way they communicate to that message that I enjoy.
Yes, so that's exactly, because it's about the style. It's not always about the content. And now we are referring to, you know, self-development books, books that teach you something, more like this kind. But how could you read a classic novel in 15 minutes? Yeah. What would be the purpose of it? Like, I know pupils do it at school, and I personally think they are missing out completely on the experience, but it's kind of dutiful, right? They are not picking this book out of their own will, but because they feel forced by the teacher, and the teacher will be asking about the plot. So this is why they need the plot. So they have a purpose. 15 minutes short read serves this purpose. But for the experience of a classical novel, so yeah, again, and it really brings me to the point: what is your priority and your core values when it comes to the entire achievement process? I even made actually a post about it this morning, that I'm uncovering now through my research, through interviews, through client work, I'm uncovering like not really two different types, but let's say two different ends, extreme ends of the scale of value when it comes to achievement. Some achievers are so focused and so caring about getting this thing as fast as humanly possible, and preferably over humanly. They are willing to go that far. I was one, so like no judgment. As fast as hell. That's the only thing that matters. And no matter how much you need to push yourself, no matter how much you need to exhaust yourself, if you need to, not see anyone, not sleep, not eat, not nothing, just do the only thing that is required to achieve this thing, like you're willing to do it. And as long as you get it, you're happy, you think it was worth it. And then there is another type. In my case, I evolved from the first to the other because I have reached the point where, the goals were bigger and bigger, and the price for getting them fast became also higher and higher. And at some point it wasn't bearable. And at some point it was impossible, even like it wasn't possible to do it that fast. So I have evolved to believe that, the fastest is not really the key factor here for me. For me, it's also about enjoying the journey and enjoying life as it is while being on this journey towards the goals. And for me, what I have discovered is that when you find this flow and this joy and this thrill and this kind of balance along the journey, and you get to get all your core needs met as you go for this extraordinary goal, this is when you really already feel like you are living your dream. So it really turns upside down our typical concept of what it is, living your dream. Because we tend to think that, when I have achieved A, B, C, D, for high achievers, the list is long and constantly growing. When I have achieved all these things, this is when I will be living my dream. Try to turn it around. That's my advice.
Yeah. And the same with the book. If you read it in 15 minutes, you're not going to get the nourishment and the ideas and the thoughts soaked so well into your life if you read it very quickly. Yeah. Do you have a business role model? You mentioned a couple of people like your partner and your uncle that you had previously, but do you have any business role models, and business role models are maybe around the achievers space?
It's a very tricky question. When it comes to achiever space, I have done my homework, and I have done the market research. I have checked who is there serving high achievers in the way I do. And with the hand on my heart, I couldn't find a single person in the entire world. I have found two people that have done a little bit of research on the very same thing that I'm doing, but even in their business and their professional work, they're not really that focused on this piece. So here I cannot compare myself to anyone, which is kind of a good news, because comparison can be inspiring, but it can also be very limiting and overwhelming for a high achiever. And then I have great many people that inspire me in different ways. I'm always inspired by what I call exponential entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurs who are both growing their businesses exponentially, and they are a huge success, but they are also a huge success that no one expected, because the ideas that they came with, the solutions that they came with, were so unthinkable, seemed so impossible, that really by what they do, they're revolutionizing the world. They're revolutionizing our beliefs around what's possible, our beliefs around how things should and should not be done. So people like Elon Musk, he would be an example of an absolutely crazy, visionary, exponential entrepreneur in this way. So people who are really making impact and creating this legacy that will change the trajectory of human history, basically. This is what we are talking about. So I'm very much inspired by these people. And then obviously I have had many great business mentors, very different business mentors, and I have taken pieces from them. But at the same time, the question is tricky, because I have learned that no matter how much I can admire any other business owner or any other achiever, when it comes to my own achievements, when it comes to my own life and my own business, I am my biggest authority. I'm the decision maker. I'm the powerful creator from scratch. I'm the CEO. So I need to trust myself first. And by all means, get inspired by others, but not get attached to what they are doing and how successful they are. And that if I want to be equally successful, I then probably need to copy paste what they are doing. No copy pasting here.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a really interesting topic to follow. We're going to have a look down that route now, because I want to ask you, what does fear, overwhelm, and comparison actually mean to you?
So we've touched on comparison. And again, it's a question of healthy and unhealthy, because, and notice that this will trigger different people in different ways. Let's say someone shares a huge win in their business. For instance, it's a business we're talking about. Huge win in their business, financial, or maybe, you know, a client success, outrageous. And many people will really celebrate with them and clap, and, you know, and also be inspired, because by comparing, like, we still all have this common human experience. So if someone has achieved something that's spectacular, it really says something about the potential and the capacity that lies in every single one of us, because it's a proof of what kind of humans are capable of. So it is inspiring, it is uplifting if you have this healthy approach to comparison, and if you allow yourself to be inspired. But if it triggers your insecurity, your low self-esteem, some, you know, trauma, so painful experiences from your past where you have shaped this belief that you are not capable of what others are, this will massively trigger like a very poor emotional reaction. Or it might also trigger the imposter syndrome, which is a trap for high achievers, definitely. Yeah. Because comparison, you know, perfectionism and imposter syndrome are a little bit related, and maybe especially perfectionism. Perfectionism really often comes in this context from comparing ourselves to others and their huge success, and not really seeing all the time, all the journey, all the steps they had to take, all the failures, all the stumbles along the way. We see this big shiny result because this is what the world tends to pay attention to. Yeah. And this is what also high achievers are contributing to by showing only these shiny results and keeping all the struggles and the tears and the moments of doubt and the moments when it really went bad secret.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's, you know, that's comparison. And then you said overwhelm and fear.
Yeah.
I am a pretty fearless person, a little bit more fearful once I became a mom, because now I really sense this responsibility for some more lives than my own. But fear for me usually indicates that I am on the right track. So it's kind of this, you know, rather thrill. Thrill is a mixture of excitement and fear for me. So it indicates that we are about to grow, that we are about to get out of our comfort zone. But then again, for high achievers, a tricky thing, we know this, we tend to be pretty good when it comes to self-development stuff. So we have a lot of awareness around it. And I have an example from my life when I feared one decision and one challenge to the point where just before I had to say yes or no to this particular opportunity, I felt like, you know, as if I was about to vomit. Seriously, it was such a strong physical sensation. And as a high achiever, I pushed through it because I thought, oh, it's just this big fear, big anxiety means big progress, big goal to be achieved. And I was tricked there because actually it was a sign not to go in this direction.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was the thing that caused that project that I took back then was the one that caused probably my most severe and all around on all levels burnout, the biggest one. The result of it, though, a great one, was that was my last job, even though it was a CEO job and I was co-creating it with my partner. So it was kind of like my business too, my first full business experience, but still it wasn't mine. It wasn't my creation from the very beginning, and it wasn't that aligned with what I really wanted to create. So this experience at least was so powerful that I knew that while leaving it at some point, finally, I knew now I will start my business. So that was the blessing in the burnout, definitely. And then you said overwhelm. Overwhelm can come from two things, mostly. One that we've discussed, meaning overcommitting, saying yes to too many projects at the same time, not only coming from the outside as, you know, invitations or someone asking you for help with something, but very often it can come from our own head, because we are brilliant at generating these new ideas and seeing new possibilities and setting new goals, and then committing to them too quickly, thinking that we need to do our entire life in 1 week, basically, or 1 year at the max. Yearly goals, great, 1 year. So we don't. Flash news, we don't. And actually there is this concept I love about dreaming in time and knowing there will be time for different goals that you already can see, but it doesn't mean that you need to pursue them already. So important to bear in mind to avoid overwhelm. And another thing about overwhelm is that if you are this really visionary, really ambitious, really creative achiever who wants to make huge impact, not only on, you know, your closest relationships, your closest environment, but really on a bigger scale, national scale, global scale, in a particular field of expertise, then this vision, and it often feels, for me, it really feels like a calling that is given from, you know, it's not really created by me. It really feels like something, someone, some higher power is calling me to be on this path and do this extraordinary thing. And this extraordinary thing, at times at least, might seem so huge and so complex that there is this, you know, this goal of mine is so big, and compared to it, how I am right now, I'm so little. Where do I even start? Is it really me supposed to do this? How? And that's, you know, and that's the thing of, one, obviously chunking it down to the digestible, doable steps that do not overwhelm you, and remembering that you, as with all different goals, that you don't need to take all these steps at the same time. And also allowing ourselves in this process to grow, to become the person that is big enough to make this big thing happen, rather effortlessly at this point.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And even people that aren't high achievers will have some sort of goal that they want to achieve, and quite often they feel exactly the same as you've just mentioned. You know, it's just too big. I don't feel capable of stepping up and grabbing that particular dream of something that I want to do. So that's really good advice.
Yeah, and you know, we are also talking about, and it's again simplifying it too much. They say, oh, it's just your limiting belief. It's just your limiting belief. Like, you can do whatever you want. Yes, you can, but maybe not in the given moment.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to grow yourself stronger, wiser, more skilled in order to then achieve this thing. But again, I do believe that you have capacity to grow yourself
Yeah.
bigger, wiser, stronger, and capable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So on that topic, what is your impossible dream?
Right now, I have had many. My impossible dream in my professional life would be really bringing the research that I'm doing to the public spotlight and spreading awareness, both like adding a piece of something really new and really important to the knowledge, the science that we have developed so far, because it turns out that my project is really pioneering and there is not much done. And my project is all about what I call hyperachiever syndrome. So you won't really find anything about it. And yet once I have spotted it, like I see it everywhere and I'm shocked, like how is it possible that it hasn't been addressed before? And I'm kind of, personally frustrated by it because I see it as a huge issue, a huge challenge. And I really want people to overcome it, to free themselves up from this syndrome. So this is probably the biggest impact that I want to make in the world and really help all these extraordinary high achievers that I really believe are bringing the humanity forward, find a better way of doing it and avoid the risk of exhausting themselves, even to death, because there are stories like this as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, in order, like the first condition of achieving these extraordinary things is staying alive and then staying healthy and in good capacity of your body and your brain in order to make these things happen. And then of course I have some of my personal goals that seem a little bit impossible right now, like having a third house. I don't know, I have this vision of California beach house. I have a vision of buying my man a Ferrari for, as a thank you gift, really, for everything that he has done for me, for all the ways on different levels he has been supporting my other impossible dreams. And then I know that he doesn't want me to buy him this Ferrari, but that's not the point. I want to be able to. Yeah. I want to be in a position to do it.
Yeah, love that. So a very quick fire round. What book did you read this year which made a difference to your life and why?
And now I will surprise you because everyone is expecting this great self-development book, the best of all times. I don't really have that much time. Back to saying yes and no to things. I'll read a lot of research and articles on the topics that are close to my professional journey. But when it comes to books, I mostly read for my kids. My kids are 7 and 5.5. And the book that I have read this year, actually finished the part 3 this morning. No one heard of it. Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. We have just finished part 3, and it is a major life changer for me because now I love reading books. I absolutely love reading books, and I was missing this part of being a busy business mom, not having time for reading novels. Now we have reached together the point where they are ready to read proper novels and the novels that actually excite me. So it has really changed the experience and the joy of my everyday life, because now I'm doing this for them just as much as for my own true pleasure. And the nights when my man is putting them to bed and reading for them, and I know that, oh my gosh, now they are 1 chapter or 2 ahead of me. When it's my bedtime, I will take Harry Potter from their room, sneaking myself there in the darkness, and I will take it to my bed and I will read for myself as well, to be literally on the same page as them the next day.
Yeah, no, and I think it's wonderful to have a book that you can escape into. especially if you spend a lot of the time like you're doing, you know, you're doing proper research into things that are very high level and you're thinking a lot, but it's wonderful to have a book that you can just escape into and enjoy the story.
And it is important, right? Because I actually discovered that reading novels for me is one of the best ways and most effective ways of getting mind breaks, as I call it, brain breaks from my work. Because, you know, high achievers are very often also very smart people, meaning their brain is really working on a high speed most of the time. So giving these breaks from whatever you're doing, mental breaks, not only, you know, sitting or going in even for a walk. I love going for a walk, but if you're not doing it really like super mindfully by design and really just focusing focusing your brain on the smell and the sounds of the birds and so on, you will be going on this walk and in your head you will be still going through this project, this goal, this business that you have. So disconnecting mentally from it, like for me, reading novels is one of the best ways.
Yeah, no, good tip there as well for everybody. What is your superpower?
I have been aware of one for quite a while now, and I have gotten aware of one literally yesterday. One is making impossible dreams come true. And I think the reason why I am capable of it is this combination of the alchemist and the achiever in me, because I really go for it. And actually, I have discovered that it's a very spiritual process. All my most impossible dreams were dreams that no one would bet, you know, a cent that they would come true ever, because they seemed not even improbable, but they really seemed totally impossible and against everything, all the signs that were there. And yet I didn't discard them. There was this feeling that this is for me, this is going to happen. So I engaged my brain and this achiever to just go for it without questioning it. So that's, I think, the reason of the superpower. And then the second one, and someone has used this expression about me, and I thought this is true, that I'm a queen of life and death. Meaning, for me, it means that I'm kind of like this phoenix that can get reborn from ashes. And no matter how many times I get seriously burned, no matter how tragic, dark situation might seem, I will focus on the light at the end of the tunnel. I will find something supportive about the situation, and I will constantly look for this opportunity for new beginning. And it's this constant circle of kind of life and death, metaphorically, that I seem to be tackling really, really well.
Yeah, amazing. Something that you'll achieve in 2022, next year?
You make me think about it before December. Obviously, I kind of see some things coming on the horizon. In my business, in my professional life, I think the one that I'm focused the most on is properly relaunch on a premium level of my signature group program, High Achiever 2.0, which is really about this massive transformation of the approach we have to high achievement and overcoming the hyperachiever syndrome. And I have done a beta test of this program already. And I have noticed how at this point, group dynamics adds another dimension and so huge value. So I got really excited about co-creating this experience, because this is something I couldn't give on my own to my clients. But I am the one very carefully putting this group together, so that I know that every single individual on this group will get their individual process enhanced by the fact that we are in this group environment. So this is probably my first big goal that I can see coming in the next year. And the other one is a different kind of goal, a goal that is not to be ticked off and kind of checked from my bucket list, another achievement under the belt. It's more like an ongoing intention of working less and earning more.
Yeah.
And finding and testing and refining all the ways that can give me this result on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, yeah. No. So we wish you well with both of those goals you want to achieve. I think the first one particularly, I've noticed a lot more. I mean, obviously our community's been going 11 years, but I've noticed a lot more of people are keen to find communities that they can be themselves in and meet like-minded people in, far more than before. I think this whole situation has made people realise how isolated they are and how they want to get back to connecting with other people that can support them in their journey. So it's great that you're putting that together. How best can other people connect with you after this call?
Oh, yes, so I would love to stay connected. If anything that I've been talking about has really resonated strongly with you, then you are my people. And I think the best way to really get in touch and also interact would be at this point LinkedIn. I'm doing this major transformation right now from Facebook to LinkedIn. So if you are hungry for some content, then go to Facebook. Aleksandra Marjańska is my personal profile. I also have the page Goal Achievers Institute, and you can also join for free, still for free, our Goal Achievers Club, which is a free Facebook community. But LinkedIn will be my favorite social platform. I'm just now doing the last preparations behind the scenes to pull it off properly. So that would be my two favorite platforms to get in touch with you.
Brilliant. It's really interesting that people are now looking at different platforms rather than Facebook to build their communities on. So well done for LinkedIn. I think it fits perfectly with your business. I'm
noticing it already, honestly, that, and it's not even about that there are different people here and there, partly, but it's also because I can notice that people, when they are on LinkedIn, they are in a different kind of mental mode. And the conversations I'm having there are so meaningful and so to the point and very effectively straight to the point. While on Facebook, I don't know, my feeling is that people are chilling out more. And as we already have clarified, like goal achievers are not really that much about chilling out constantly, even though I will encourage you very strongly to do it more.
Brilliant. And that's a great piece of advice to finish with. Thank you, Aleksandra. I look forward to meeting you live and in person at some point, somewhere in the world.
Thank you so much for having me, Ali, and for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this conversation today. If you enjoyed this episode, please click the subscribe button to hear when new episodes of this series become available. If you're a woman who's living in Spain or working in Spain, I'd be delighted to welcome you to our free community, costawomen.com.